My name is Dike Emmanuel, and I'm here to do my presentation on CDS on the topic of research on two successful people in my career, which I chose Archimedes and George Holmes. Now, talking about Archimedes. Archimedes is one of the great names in the olden days that will always be remembered, who was a great mathematician, physicist, engineer, inventor, and astronomer. His outstanding contribution in the field of science brought about significant changes to scientific world. Some of his notable contributions in the field of mathematics and science include the finding and development of the law and principle of mechanics, hydrostatics, specific gravity, the lever and pulling. In addition, he discovered ways to measure a circle and the volume of a solid. Archimedes was born in 287 BC in the Greek city of Syracuse on the island of Cilicia. His father, Phidias, was an astronomer. Archimedes is said to be a relative of Hero too, the then of king of Syracuse, and presumably lived a royal life. He spent most of his life in Syracuse except for the time he went to Alexandria, Egypt to receive his education. Belonging to a Greek family, young Archimedes was always encouraged to get education and be knowledgeable. Besides maths and science, his other major interests include poetry, astronomy, music, arts, and military tactics. Opportunities came when he got the chance to continue his studies in a famous school of mathematics founded by Euclid. Here he got the pleasure to study astronomy, physics, and mathematics with other generous and big minds of that era. Under the guidance of two great mathematicians and scholars, Colonel of Samos and Eratosthenes of Cyrene, Archimedes grew up to be a great scientist. Now we're talking about famous discovery and invention of Archimedes, which are the story of the golden crown. Talking about the story of the golden crown, Archimedes was given a task to determine the purity of the golden crown made for King Hero II. In the process, he discovered the way to find out the density of gold and successfully proved that silver was mixed with the golden crown. This is how he devised a method for determining the volume of an object with an irregular shape. The second one is the Archimedes screw. Another great discovery by Archimedes is his famous Archimedes screw. This is still a famous tool in Egypt used for irrigation. This screw was mainly invented to remove water from the hold of large ships. However, it is also helpful for handling light, loose materials such as ash, grain, sand, etc. The claw of Archimedes, also known as the ship shaka. The claw of Archimedes is a great weapon designed by Archimedes for the purpose of defending his home city, Syracuse. Contribution to mathematics. How Now we are talking about how Archimedes contributed to mathematics. Archimedes is also famous for his contribution to the field of mathematics. This include the use infinitesimal in a way that is similar to modern integral calculus. The mathematical proof of the formula of area of a circle, the solution of the problem as an infinite geometric series, etc. Now, we are talking about how Archimedes died. Archimedes died during the siege of Syracuse in 212 BC when he was killed by a Roman soldier. The Roman soldier killed him while he busy working and experimenting on his ideas. This great scientist and mathematician passed away, but his contribution led the world towards scientific development and betterment of the humanity race. That's all about Archimedes. Now I'm going to talk about George Holmes. George Holmes, a German physicist and mathematician. George Simon Holmes. Now we're talking about George Holmes. George Simon Holmes is best remembered for his formulation of Ohm's law, which defines the relationship between electrical resistance, electrical force, and electrical current. This was an important discovery made in the field of science, as it symbolized the true beginning of electrical circuit analysis. What is interesting to note is that Holmes wasn't the only scientist who was trying to develop the relationship. There were many other researchers prior to Holmes who tried to establish the relationship but failed. Holmes, with his philosophical argument, the physical reality of experiment, proved his hypothesis just like other scientists. His idea too was rejected, but Holmes was not the one to be disheartened. His strong willpower backed his research, which later was not only accepted but made a law in physics. To know more about his ingenious scientists, browse through the following line. Childhood and early life of Holmes. Now we're going to talk about childhood and early life of Holmes Simon George. Coming from a family of Protestants, George Simon Holmes was born to Jordan Wolfgang Holmes and and Maria Elizabeth Beck. While his father was a locksmith, his mother was the daughter of a tailor. Excuse me. Through his parents did not have any formal education. This this did not stop his father from educating himself, and not just educating himself. Jordan even educated his children through his own teaching. Holmes had two siblings, his younger brother Martins, who later became a well-known mathematician, and his sister Elizabeth Barbara George, also with his brother Martins, trained himself in mathematics and physics, chemistry, and philosophy at such a high standard that his formal education seems to be valueless and unsparing. At the age of 11, George enrolled himself in Erlangen Gymnasium, where he continued his studies until he was 15. However, this phase of learning, as mentioned above, wasn't a very motivating one. For all that the education center stressed on on was on what wrote, learning, and interpreting text, such was both the broader intelligence, quoting that Kel, Christian von Landorf, professor at the University of Erlangen, comparing the two of the Bernoulli family. In 19, in 19, in 1805, George Holmes enrolled in the University of Erlangen. However, instead of concentrating on his studies, Holmes dro- Holmes, Holmes dribbled always Holmes dribbled away his time on extracurricular activities. Jonan, upon seeing that his son was wasting his valuable years and missing out on the educational opportunities, sent George Holmes to Switzerland in 1806. Therein, George Holmes took up a post as a mathematics teacher in a school in Godstead, Bill, Nida. In 1809, Christian von Landorf left the University of Erlangen to take up a post in the University of Edinburgh. Holmes too wanted to join him, but no but on the advice of Landorf, he read the work of Euler Lap, Laplace, and Lacrosse. For the same Holmes left his teaching post in Godsted Bill Snyder in March. In 1809, to become a private tutor in Neuchâtel. During his free time, he continued his private study of mathematics. This continued for 2 years, after which, in the April of 1811, Holmes turned to the University of Erlangen. Now we're going to talk about how Holmes died and his legacy. George Holmes George Holmes breathed his last in Munich in the year 1854. He was entered in the altar Sodfredhof. Not much in not much is known about what caused the death of George Holmes. His name has been used in the technology of electrical science in Ohm's law. Additionally, the SI unit of resistance, the Ohm's law symbol, also adopts the name of these eyes physicists. Now I've talked about my two engineers, which are Archimedes and George Holmes, which have researched their paths on my career, and they are my model and my mentor. I want to be like them. With these few points of mine, I think I'm okay with my presentation. Thank you very much.